Is it time to bring back John Wall to the nation's cap? Yes, but how soon and in what capacity? We're going to answer that question next, and we're going to look at the Summer League studs and does next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, and I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As the playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every single day all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, everybody. A lot of reports coming out. A couple of John Wall interviews on podcasts where he not only said that he wants to continue playing in the NBA, but he's willing to accept any role. And saying that, the question tonight is, should we consider bringing back John Wall? And obviously, this will be the one of many videos I've done on the potential return of John Wall coming to DC. You know, I've given my reasons why we should. So we're looking at every perspective right now. You know, what are the pros? What are the cons? You know, look back at John Wall, his body of work here, how important he was to the city. But I do believe that it's time to consider bringing him back. Now, is it this season? Probably not, because it looks like the roster is about full, man, as far as vets of the roster. But in the near future, absolutely. So we're going to look at that tonight, and we're going to look at Summer League studs and duds. And obviously, you know, look, it's getting close to the season, man, getting closer. Football season and basketball season, man. So you NFL and NBA fans, man, definitely excited that football and basketball season is on its way here, man. So let's get into the content tonight. The question tonight, is it time to consider bringing back John Wall to the Washington Wizards? And the question is, how soon and in what capacity? All right, let's tuck in. That's the British say, our cousins across the pond. All right, so and shout out to y'all, man. I know I got some fans over there in not only in the UK, but Ireland and Scotland. Definitely appreciate you guys. Wales, definitely appreciate you guys. Again, let's get into it. John Wall. Now, obviously, look, John Wall is very much so very loved in DC. He is very loved in DC, not only for his production on the court, but off the court. Now, obviously, there were red flags with John Wall. Now, I guess, like I said, you guys know me. I'm gonna look at every perspective. I'm gonna look at every angle, right? Looking at John Wall, look, like I just said, very important player for the Washington Wizards on the court, very important human being off the court. You know, on the court, I felt like we never built around him the way we should have. I always felt like we were one, maybe two moves away, but I think we can all kind of agree that we were one move away from really putting a championship team around John Wall. Now, his supporting cast was not bad in any fashion. You know what I mean? He had a good supporting cast, but he needed that one score, man. You know, and if you look at back, you know, there was at one time where he advocated for the front office of Under Grunfeld to go trade for Paul George before Paul George went to Oklahoma City. Now, I feel like that was a good time to make that move. If you look at the fact that he wanted to draft Klay Thompson, which Klay Thompson would have been the perfect complement to him and Bradley Beal. But instead, we went in another direction. So we didn't properly develop around him as far as a supporting cast that, yeah, we had a supporting cast that can make it, you know, made us a playoff team, but we weren't good enough to get past the semifinals. You know what I mean? We came one game short of going to the Eastern Conference Finals, but look, you know, we didn't make it, you know. So we never provided him with the proper supporting cast for a championship run. Playoff run, yes. Championship run, no. So why shouldn't you? Or not, I'm not gonna say why shouldn't you, because I'm 100% behind bringing him back. But what do you know? What every pros or cons. Now I guess we'll look at the pros real quick. We'll look at the cons. But pros, look, like I said, on the court, his speed. I guess we'll look at the statistics real quick of John Wall, because at his height, his best season was 2016 to 2017 season, where he averaged 23 points per game, where he shot 45% from field goal range. That was a career high. His best as far as three-point shooting was the year after the 2017 to 2018 season, where he shot 37% from three. But that was his best year because His 3-point shot never really materialized. I mean, he shot 30%, 37% one year, but I mean, he never really on a consistent basis was that shooter from behind the arc, and even at mid range that we needed him to be, but it just wasn't his game. The name of the game for John Wall was what? Using his speed to attack the basket, utilize shooters on the outside, find open shooters. His vision was just paramount. His speed he was one of the fastest guys in the league at the time. I believe the 3 fastest point guards in the league at the time was John Wall, Russell Westbrook, and De'Aaron Fox with the Sacramento Kings. So he's definitely up there with the fastest guys in his prime. Now, up to the 2016 to 2017 season, he got better every year. His points per game went from 16 to 16 to 18 to 19, went down to 17 to 19 to 23. Then, kind of maintained 19, 20. Houston, it was 20, took the hiatus, and then it went down to 11 the last time playing with the LA Clippers. So he can definitely still play ball. Now, obviously, he's not going to be a starting point guard. Obviously, he's a guy that's going to be brought in to be a mentor, especially for Bob Carrington and Jordan Poole. 2 young guards who need a guy like John Wall to not only show them how to be that young, fast point guard, the scoring-minded point guard, but the other parts, the mental part, which Jordan Poole kind of already showed that he can handle, right? The part, when you struggle, the integral parts of the NBA game, I think he can show them. Just like Jonas would be good for Alex R, just like Kyle Kuzma would be good for Bilal Coulibaly, just like Malcolm Brogdon will be good for the guards. I think John Wall, not only just with him being a former number 1 overall pick, with him not only being a former Wizard, just the fact that dealing with taking your L's. And I think he could definitely be good for Jordan Poole and Bob Carrington. I think in tandem with Malcolm Brogdon, he can be a very good mentor and veteran. Now, obviously, again, looking at the roster, we're at point guard right now, we're overloaded, man. Malcolm Brogdon, Jordan Poole, Bob Carrington, Jared Butler, potentially Tyus Jones. We don't know yet. As we all know, the Wizards they've been his safety valve the whole time. So if he doesn't get the right deal in free agency, you very well can see Tyus Jones come back. So right now we have an overabundance of guards. So would he fit right now? No, but I think eventually you have to make that move. Now, what are the knocks against John Wall? We all know, there were knocks, and it's not to say that a lot of the criticism wasn't warranted. John Wall is my favorite Wizard of all time. I love John Wall. I love what I'm gonna get into off the court stuff after I get into the cons, but obviously, look, there's times where he came into training camp out of shape. There was a couple seasons he came in and he looked like he was homeless. I love how look, John Wall, man, if you're watching and listening, I love you, bro. But a couple times he looked rough. The partying, the Rose Bar in DC, there was rumblings about that. Is that proper criticism? Yeah, I mean, you can argue that being the guy, being the number 1, there's expectations of how you're supposed to show up to the training camp. You definitely want to show up in shape, ready to go. So showing up out of shape was not a good look. So, and obviously that's warranted. He's notorious for the Rose Bar, and those are the biggest issues. Now, obviously the gang signs, the injuries had a lot to do with him leaving DC, but I think that the gang signs was kind of the cherry on top. Now, if you look at issues with other players, especially players within the Washington Wizards organization, was it the worst? No, it's not a good look. Listen, I'm not advocating or condoning flashing gang signs. Now, do you see it in the NBA? Yes, especially with players from California. You've seen, players from LA throw signs up, and look, it is what it is. But looking at the realm of mistakes that were made in DC, Gilbert Arenas, he was brought back 2 years ago with him, Caron Butler, and Sean Jameson. If you can make up with Gilbert Arenas, man, sooner or later, you got to bring John Wall back to the fold because, yes, Gilbert Arenas was very important in DC, very much loved. He played high-level basketball here. But what did he not do? And that kind of leads into off the court. John Wall did so much off the court, man. And, and that's why I like Kyle Kuzma. And that's why I liked Bradley Beal. And, yes, Bradley Beal got criticism on this very platform for on-the-court stuff. But, I never questioned what he did off the court. And even on the court, I love them as a basketball player. And same thing with Kyle Kuzma. Because both of them, while I didn't agree with the role within the organization, Bradley Beal at the time, and then Kyle Kuzma presently, you can't deny how important they are on the court to a certain degree. And off the court, what they've done for the community. Look, let's be real. I'm not going to get too political on this platform, man, because this is not a political platform. But, if you look at the United States as one of, if not the most wealthiest countries in the world, one of the most wealthiest countries in the world, and the fact that we have the highest level of homelessness. And the fact that if you look at DC, it's the nation's capital and it's got one of the highest levels of homelessness and low income living outside of LA and Skid Row, outside of Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia. Washington, D.C., ever since I was a kid, was synonymous with homeless people. And the fact of the matter is, for him to go out here and spend his own money, which, look, celebrities don't have to. I'm not one of these people to say, oh, you make millions, you have to give back. If the half the government ain't gonna give back, then I'm not gonna expect guys who are millionaires to do so. But if you can, if you want to, cool. But he spent his own money getting school supplies for kids of low-income neighborhoods in D.C., food, winter jackets, the whole nine. He didn't have to do that. Just like Kyle Kuzma didn't have to do that. This with the influx of the police shootings in America, Bradley Beal didn't have to go out his way to show solidarity with people in D.C. Like no matter how you feel about the subjects being brought up, like I said, I'm not getting too political, but I think we all agree that more needs to be done as far as not only homelessness, especially homeless vets, but this homelessness in overall. But John will always be beloved for what he did off the court. He did a lot for the people of DC, PG County, the DMV period off the court. And I think that, yes, him showing up out of shape, not a good look for a guy that's supposed to be your number one. The gang signs, not a good look, not at all. I think that, he definitely took his L's though. I think he definitely, he paid for that. And then and another component to kind of bring up too is that, a lot of us don't react to certain things the same way, right? The loss of his mother in 2019, most of us don't know how we react to the loss of a parent or a sibling or even a child. Those are things that are hard, man. And he was going through a lot, and then it's been noted that he went through his struggles. So like I said, he's definitely had his cons, but his pros, I think that his importance to the Wizards as far as what he did on the court, as a looking at what he did off the court, the fact that he's so much loved, man. I was there with my boy, the Red at Oliver, man. Shout out to my man, the Red at Oliver, man. But we were present for the Clippers game when John Wall came back, and he went out there, man, and he said, look, this is still my city. There's a reason for that. And there's nothing against Brad, but Bradley Beal never captured the fan base like John Wall did. Gil Arenas never captured the fan base like John Wall did. Michael Jordan in the Wizards uniform never came close to capturing the fan base like John Wall did, because he was a good player here in DC. He played his heart out. He played 100%, 100 miles an hour every play. And yes, you can argue that with him getting so much usage early in his career, with having an abysmal supporting cast early in his career in DC, it put a lot of wear and tear on his body. So, like I said, I understand the gang signs. I understand, show up the training camp out of shape, going to the Rose Bar, being notorious for partying. I get all that. But he was important on the court and off the court. And I think that, yes, I think the ship has sailed on this season. But the next couple of seasons, I think Ted Leonsis needs to finally look to bring John Wall back into the fold of the Washington Wizards fan base, man, and in the franchise. Bring him in. Obviously, at this stage in his career, he's not going to, what do you expect from him as a player? He's not going to start. He may not even be the backup point guard. But he's a guy that, he's shown he can play if given minutes. And he's a guy who can definitely mentor Bub Carrington, Jordan Poole, Jared Butler. List goes on. He's a guy that he's been there and done that. And like I said, so I think it'll be a good move. Like I said, I was excited when they brought Agent Zero back. I'm a big fan of Gilbert Arenas. Shout out to Agent Zero, aka Hibachi. But looking at John Wall, you got to bring him back. You have to bring him back in some fashion because he carries a lot of importance. He's probably the most important player we've had in DC all the time. And like I said, I don't know about the 7-8 team. I know Weston Silver Sr. was very, very, loved here in DC, but I wouldn't have lied then. I don't know. I'm an 85 baby, but I think that it's time. It's time to bring John Wall back into the fold. So comment below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Like I said, I kind of rambled a little bit, but I'm very passionate about this, man. Because shout out to the Dirty Bucket man. I wanted to do this video yesterday. Had some family stuff pop up, man. So I wasn't able to record this yesterday. I'm gonna get this out to you guys tonight. So definitely comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. But like I said, shout out to Dirty Bucket because he put the video up covering this topic first. Did an immaculate job, and I think he kind of echoes a lot of what I was saying, man. So shout out to him. Looking forward to having him on the show really in the near future, man. So like I said, comment below. Let me know what you guys are thinking because I think that yes, he had his fair share of issues off the court, but I think that what he's done far outweighs those issues. I think he's taken his lumps. I think he's taking his L's, and I think it's time to bring him back. You guys comment below and let me know what you guys are thinking. So we're going to look at studs and duds from Summer League, man. But right. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. So look, passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins, baby. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day long? Had to turn on the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch Locked On Sports today. A free 24/7 sports streaming channel, program free every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Lord have mercy. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Let's get into it, y'all. Studs and duds from Summer League. I got my three. And again, like I said, I always throw shout outs to other platforms that cover the Wizards. Shout out to Wizard of Oz, man, who covered this. The studs and duds definitely like the list. I wanted to put out my studs and duds as far as who did I like in Summer League and who I think definitely didn't take advantage of their playing time. So like I said, shout out to Wizard of Oz for their list, but this is my list, y'all. So my three studs and duds from the Wizards Summer League. Let's start it out. Let's go ahead and knock out the obvious one. Bob Carrington. I mean, he impressed, if not all Wizards fans, most Wizards fans. I mean, his 3-point shooting, we knew he was a 3-point shooter coming in, out of the draft. He just went ahead and solidified it. He's a sniper. But outside of that, fast first step. Now, can he add a little more speed? Absolutely. But he's got a nice first step. He has the ability to penetrate the paint. But what else? His vision, not bad. I mean, his assist numbers were on point. But what else? The dog factor. The man is a dog. I mean, this kid played his heart out. I mean, rebound numbers, come on now. Last game was what, 15? Come on now. Come on. Bob Carrington is a dog, and we need more dogs in Wizards uniforms, man. We need more dogs. Me and Ed, we said it the last couple of years. We need more dogs in DC. He fits the mold. His vision as a passer, his shooting ability, that sniping ability. He's shown that he can take over in the future the point guard position. Now, obviously, we have Jordan Poole, and Jordan Poole, deservedly so, should be the starting point guard. Now, we'll see. Obviously, we have Malcolm Brogdon in the fold. We'll talk about, we talked about Tyus Jones. We'll see if that ship has sailed or is he going to be retained. We'll see. There's other factors that can change things, but Bob Carrington is definitely the future at point guard for the Washington Wizards, man. Again, looking at the timeline, I get it. So who else did I like? Number 2, Keyshawn George. Yep, that 24th overall pick in the first round, who we traded with the Knicks to get. Good thing we did because the kid can play. Now, obviously, ball handling needs to be worked on, especially in traffic. Do I think that he's necessarily the player that needs to bring the ball up? Maybe at times, but no, I think he's a guy that you want to see him a lot more off ball, moving out the ball. Excuse me. Being that scorer. He's got, just like Bob Carrington, his jump shot is money. Money, cash money all day, baby. I mean, his jump shot is money. You see the potential of him being a scorer. Was he 6'7"? I mean, he's a guy who can definitely be a wing. The future wing for the Wizards, man. The kid can score. Now, obviously, like I said, with ball handling, once ball handling is better, you want to see him attack the basket more. And, he showed glimpses where he can attack the basket, but ball handling is better. You're definitely going to see him become more of a weapon in the paint. Definitely attacking the basket. Definitely, if you look at him, Bub, Alex Sarr, the roster overall, period, man. We have a roster that is going to be able to push the pace. And that's why if you look at point guard, Jordan Poole's always been brought up because of his ability to move. Jordan Poole, man, he's got speed on, man, so he's definitely best served as, pushing the pace because, again, last season, in the second half of the season, we were number 1 in the NBA in pace. So that tells you that we are a better team when we push the pace, when we attack teams in transition, because when you attack teams in transition, you catch them on balance. You're not giving the defense time to set up. You're like, boom, punching them in the mouth. hitting them hard from the get-go. And I think that if you really want to get the best out of this roster with the vets and the young guys, you push the pace and you attack in transition. And I think that we're going to be able to do that with a talent like Keyshawn George, which we'll see where he starts out, because like I said, a lot of dominoes need to fall as far as what the roster is going to look at. Like, the starting five, the second unit, allotment of minutes, a lot. Like I said, any info I get from the Washington Wizards, man, as far as going down there and talking to staff and players, man, I will definitely let you guys know what the vision is for the starting five in the second unit. But because Keyshawn George started out in the G League, absolutely. Right now you have a lot of guys in the second unit. Where does Patrick Baldwin Jr. fall? Are they going to say Johnny Davis? Like I said, I've been really busy last couple of days, but I've been looking out to see any news, man, and I haven't seen anything with Johnny Davis yet, man. So I'm looking at Twitter right now to make sure, because I definitely want to keep you guys in the loop. But I haven't heard much as far as Johnny Davis, but and we're going to talk about him in a minute. But there's still, as far as allotment of minutes for the second unit, there's still move here, here or there that needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, Patrick Baldwin Jr., what are they going to do with him? Corey Kispert, again, Bub Carrington, Jared Butler, you have a lot of guys in the second unit that they need to figure out as far as allotment of minutes. And I think that we all agree that when it comes to allotment of minutes, priority has to be young guys, right? You have to get the young guys minutes before, not before the vets, because a lot of these vets are probably going to be starting, man, because they're going to be showcasing a lot of them. But, in the case of Bub Carrington, especially Alex Sarr, and even Keyshawn George, you give them minutes, just like Bilal Coulibaly, just like Tristan Vucevic. These five gentlemen, they need minutes this year coming up. There's no waiting. Like I get the vets, I get the mentorship, I get the draft assets, I get all that with the vets on the team. But sooner or later, there has to be a youth movement. Sooner or later, you're going to have to put these guys in the fire to a certain degree at some point. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at. So let's get through the pros, and then we're going to knock out this commercial break, and then we're going to knock out the duds, because with every pro, there is a con. All right, number 3, Taylor Funk. This kid can play. Out of Utah State. We saw the last game, the finale, the 5th Summer League game, how his shooting stroke, man. We need shooters. Now, obviously, he would be a guy that would start out with the go-go. But you can never have too much young talent. The Capital City Go-Go, again, I've had high marks, and I've said good things not only about the Capital City Go-Go overall in the scouting department, but the general manager over there, Amber Nichols. She has done a great job getting these guys ready to play at the highest level when their name is called. And if you look at last season, what kind of talent we had over there. We had, obviously, Jules Bernard, Justin Champagny, but you had, Hamidou Diallo, who's a nice young player, formerly of the Detroit Pistons. You had R.J. Hampton, an Australian player, formerly of a few teams, Denver Nuggets. So we had young guys who can contribute if the name is called. And when you look at past seasons where we had issues with COVID and stuff like that, the Capital City Go-Go were able to get these guys ready to play high-level basketball. So I think the Taylor Funk could be an asset for this team going forward. I think we need his shooting ability. And if his name is called, I think he can provide good minutes shooting for the perimeter for the Washington Wizards, because we need more shooters. So I'm going to get into my duds, but before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. So I love sports. Y'all know that. I love them so much, I never want them to stop, baby. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games. And the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. So look, head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, everybody, let's get into my duds, and then we are going to call it a night. Like I said, I wanted to get this out last night, but like I said, we had a bug come through the house, man. So my youngest, my little man, was not feeling too well, man. So I definitely wanted to show a lot more attention to him last night, man. So my apologies, but I definitely wanted to get this news out there, because, like I said, we're getting to the time where it's going to slow down a little bit. So you guys know me, man. If you saw the content put out before the draft, I'm going to put out stuff, man. I'm going to definitely keep things interesting. And I'm definitely going to keep you guys interested and ready for the season coming up. Because like I said, we got training camp coming up. We've got, preseason, and then the regular season, man. October is when things start to get popping. So, like I said, I'm excited. I get it. We're a rebuilding team. We're not going to be very good. We may be 20 to 25 wins good. But look, I think, we're going to see some progress from these young guys. It's going to be fun with some of these vets. Like I said, I've always been a big fan of Jonas Valanciunas and, Kyle Kuzma. I definitely want to see how much, he can eat on that wing position, man, because I think Kyle Kuzma about to go off. Same thing with Jordan Poole. So, you're going to see some progression. You're going to see some fun basketball this year. Obviously, he's not going to, equal a lot more wins. Well, I mean, if you look at it, it could be 10 more wins looking at 15 wins this last year. But I think it's going to be funner basketball than last season. But we're going to take our L's, man, and we're going to have our bumps and bruises. But it's all good, man, because we're heading in the right direction. So, again, let's get back into the cons. All right. Or the duds, my bad. Number one, was knock out the obvious guy, Alex Sarr. No, he was definitely a dud. Now, do I think that he's going to struggle long term? No. Do I think that he can still be that star in this league? Absolutely. Even though I think Bub Carrington is also going to be a star. I think Bub Carrington has definitely showed that he's going to be a star. But getting back to Alex Sarr, right? I think he's going to be all right. I think that we have all the right pieces in place as far as developmental staff, the coaching staff. You look at Brian Keefe. I said it time and time again. His resume speaks for itself. I was looking at a video. What was it, man? It was the Flight Mic. I don't know how many of you guys watched the Flight Mic on YouTube, but he had a video about Ben Simmons. Every year Ben Simmons, he has this video where he shows him working out and shooting 3-point shots, and then he forgets how to shoot a 3-point shot once game 1 of the regular season happens. Then by game 20, his back is out. But who did I see on the sideline over there working with him, man? Brian Keefe. If you look at his resume, man, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Brandon Ingram, Kristaps Porzingis, the list goes on. He's had a hand in developing star talent in the NBA. And I think that when you look at Alex Sarr, when you look at Black Coulibaly, you look at Bub Carrington, all young prospects who have star potential, this is the guy you want running the show. So I think Alex Sarr is going to be all right. Now, obviously, look, what does he need to work on? He needs to find that dog, man. I don't know if we all need to get together and go get some chicken wings, some mumble sauce, and bring Brother Man down to Berry Farms and let him play some pickup games and let them toughen him up. But he needs to toughen up. That's the biggest knock right now against him, is that he shows lack of aggression. At the 4, at the 5, at 7'1", you need more aggression now. You need to use your body to attack the basket more. He needs to learn how to play with his back to the basket. He needs to learn counter moves. He needs to learn to stop, jumping every time with pump fakes. He's got to learn to keep his feet planted. And, he's got to learn how to be a better defender. Now, obviously, the two areas that you're going to look at automatically that are going to show, it's going to be his rim protection, which you already see him as a really good above-average rim protector. And 2, rebounding. The biggest knock against him in Australia was his lack of rebound. He's automatically been a really good rebounder. Now, you can also argue, you see the vision as far as, at 7'1", he has the ability to, he has some passing vision. So I think that he's definitely going to excel in that. Not as much as rim protection and rebounding, but you're going to see his vision get better and better over the course of the next 3 years. But what is the biggest thing he needs to improve on is his shooting, 3-point shooting, mid-range shooting, playing with his back to the basket, learning post moves, all these. Because the 7'1", you cannot be that stretch guy. You got to learn how to play in the paint. You got to learn how to, play with your back to the basket. You got to learn how to be a big man. Now, is he best served as a power forward? Absolutely. But here's the thing about power forwards. You're seeing a lot more taller lineups in the NBA. Now, not all, right? But a lot more teams are playing taller lineups. A lot of your power forwards are 6'8" to 7 foot tall. So, you got to be able to still have that center mentality playing at the 4, playing with your back to the basket again, counter moves. The list goes on. He has a lot of work to do on the offensive end, but I think, again, with the coaching staff of Brian Keefe and David Vanderpool, he's going to be all right. So I'm not going to hit the panic button. And I recommend you guys don't also. I think he's going to be just fine. I get into the second dud, Johnny Davis. And it is not really his on-court play, because I feel like Johnny Davis did have a good summer league. Why he's a dud is too late. Too late. I mean, he played well in summer league. Now, do you still see the same issues? Confidence is an issue. Him, missing layups, him, you see the same issues. But he played good basketball. But it's too late. If you look at these 5 draft picks underneath the Will Dawkins era, the allotment of minutes, the priority allotment of minutes are going to go to them. He very well is going to be the odd man out, because out of the Tommy Shepard era, there's only two people left. Denny's a Portland Trailblazer, and Rui Hachimura is a Laker. So you're looking at Johnny Davis and Corey Kispert. And if you really want to compare the two, I mean, Corey Kispert has just been the better player by thousands of miles. I mean, Corey Kispert has shown that he could be a sniper. He can be that guy who has high basketball IQ, a guy who can get other people involved, a guy who can cut to the basket. He can drive to the basket. The list goes on. Corey Kispert has been a good player in DC. And that's kind of another storyline that we're going to talk about within the next week or so, is that, what is his future in DC? But Johnny Davis, while he had a good summer league, it's too late. I don't think he's part of the future. If Denny or Rui weren't part of the future, then I get it that Rui was traded underneath Tommy, even though the trade package was sorry. But, I don't think he's part of the future. You have to prioritize those minutes of other people. Bob Carrington, you got to give him minutes. He has proven that he can play in the NBA roster. Keyshawn George, we'll see. And that's two guys automatically, especially in the guard. As far as guard or forward on the second unit, Corey Kispert is a guy that you got to give minutes to because he's earned that right. He's played good basketball. He's a guy who's up for a rookie scale extension. So I don't see where Johnny Davis fits in. If you look at the second unit, you still got Rashawn Holmes. You still got Tristan Vucevic. You still got Marvin Bagley III. You still got Patrick Baldwin Jr. I mean, the list goes on. He's running. I think he's run out of options. In the video game world, he ran out of lives, man. I think like I said, I'm not gonna get into who's at fault. Why didn't he pan out? I think that ship is sailed. But I do wish the brother all the success in the world going forward. I hope he catches on to an NBA roster or a G League roster, or he goes overseas. But I hope he keeps the dream alive. I hope he keeps his basketball career intact. But I think as far as his impact, his place in DC in the Wizards uniform, I think the time has come to an end. All right, the last dud, everybody, before we roll out, Eugene Amarui. Now, again, looking at Eugene Amarui, he is that hustle guy, that hard-nosed dog that I believe every team needs, like a Draymond Green, right? Like a Dennis Rodman. And the list goes on to players like that, like a Charles Oakley for your old school fans. I mean, every team needs a Charles Oakley. I mean, ask MJ. That was his enforcer early on, and then ended up being Dennis Rodman. But everybody needs a Dennis Rodman. Everybody needs a hustle guy, hard-nosed guy who's willing to bleed to get the ball, to dive in the stands, to dive on the floor, to catch an elbow. But if you look at the fact that allotment of minutes, am I advocating he should be on the roster? We'll see. Again, every team needs a Eugene Amarui. But as far as skill point, he's got a low ceiling. As far as what he can contribute that fits into a box score is not much. I mean, he's a guy who can shoot a three-point shot, but I'm not willing to bet my paycheck on him making a shot. I'm just being real. He can hit it, but does he hit it on a consistent basis that would instill the fear in any defense? Not. And like I said, he's a guy that athleticism is a big knock. So I like Eugene Emery. I think he's a dog. I think he's a guy that every team needs. But I'm not going to say his summer league was a small sample size, but it just shows that he has a low ceiling. He may have a high floor as far as all the things he does that's not on a stat sheet. But sometimes you need the stuff that's on a stat sheet. I'm just saying, like I said, if you look at all the young talent we have in this organization from last year's draft and this draft, and like I said, shout out to Will Dawkins. Thank you. Because he has accumulated a lot of young talent, man, and a lot of picks. We went over the picks the last episode, and like I said, we're going to go over it in the future, but he's accumulated so many picks so far. Now, obviously, the draft, you want to see him add more picks to be 2025, 2026, but he's done a good job overall. But getting back to Eugene, he very well could be another guy on the fence. Because if it's between Eugene and Keyshawn George, you already know they're going to prioritize Keyshawn George. And even if you look at guys from the go-go like Jules Bernard, Justin Schimppenny, they've been guys who played really good basketball when given the minutes in DC. And obviously, they weren't given significant minutes, but in the second half of last season, they were given enough minutes to show that they could be really young role players for the DC, when their name is called. So, Eugene, man, again, appreciate your hustle, appreciate the heart, appreciate the dog, but definitely think that I wouldn't be mad if they brought you back. But I would definitely want to see you keep the dream alive, brother. So, again, appreciate you guys. We talked about a lot tonight. John Wall, you guys get in the comment section. Let me know. Are you in favor of bringing them back in some capacity? I think so. I think we should. And looking at Summer League, who is your studs and duds? Let me know. Because, Jules Bernard and Justin Schimppenny were on the fence, man. So, definitely let me know what you guys' studs and duds were from Summer League. And definitely let me know about John Wall because, like I said, my favorite Wizard. I definitely want to see him back into the fold with the organization in some capacity sooner or later. Will it be this year? I don't think so, but within the next 2 to 3 seasons, I would definitely like to see that, man. So comment below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. So Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the Free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus the national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the Free Fire TV channels app. So again, appreciate you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow night. That is a guarantee. I will see you guys tomorrow night. So hail to the Wizards and peace. See you guys tomorrow.